Well, Mama Z, thank you so much for coming in today. My name is Joel Grizzle, and I was one of the student workers, one of the student helpers over in your daughter, Student Z's class this semester. And I worked with her on some reading and some things like that. And some things I noticed about your daughter, Student Z, was that she was very creative. She always had a smile on her face. She enjoyed seeing me and working with me. She always had plenty of energy. Her social skills were through the roof. And there was a couple of times in what I would call big or normal classroom that she had a few issues, maybe with the current teacher before we would go off and work together. But whenever I would have her, she was great. So she had a great resiliency. So a couple of things I want to share with you is back on October 26th, we took the Phonological Awareness Skills Test, the PASS test. And that is a tool that we use to help us monitor where your student is at from a reading and a spelling standpoint. And so we know what can work on to create activities to help for that. And when you look at the things that we go over, you know, concepts of spoken word, rhyme recognition, blending syllables, producing rhyming, knowing how many syllables are in words, deleting syllables or sounds. A couple of areas that stood out for us in this one was inability to recognize rhyme, but also the ending sound of words, how to remove the ending sound or even recognize the ending sound at times. And before we took the PASS test, earlier in the year, we also took the primary spelling inventory in the early fall. And what we do there is, for this one, we gave 11 words. We said 11 words out loud, and I tried to pronounce them pretty clear. And then she went through and wrote everything that she heard. And then I went and I graded it on certain things. And notice it was, did they get the beginning consonant right, the short vowels, the long vowels, the final consonant? Did they recognize that? And you could see where she kind of struggled just a little bit, but her penmanship was pretty solid. And I noticed that her penmanship was, depending on what was going on in her world, might have affected how she wrote some things overall. But whenever we went through the grading, she spelled 4 out of 11 words right. She got the features 24 out of 29. Overall, she scored a 28 out of 40, or she made a 70 on the test. So what we did is we took the results from the PASS test, and we took the results from the spelling inventory, and I created some activities to help tutor her, mentor her, to get better in the areas of rhyming and recognizing like the ending sounds of words, and maybe even the removing. A couple of things that we did is, one activity we did was I showed some picture cards of foods, and I would say show the card, and then Student Z would have to come up with a word that rhymes. So if I said bean, she would say mean, and I think that's exactly what she said. She said mean, and every time she would get it right, I would have a feed me sign, or she would wear the feed me sign, and they would get to put the word in here and go, feed me. So she enjoyed that quite a bit. And she did okay on the rhyming words. We had another activity. This was where we're supposed to kind of create a vegetable bowl. So I had vegetable cards, and we would read the words on the vegetable, and then she would have to clap at the number of syllables in each word. And she did okay with that. That wasn't a ton of the thing that she struggled with. And then I would take a word, or I'd take a card, and I would have her remove the final sound, and then she would try to remove the final sound of the card. And that was okay. She did okay. But what I was really impressed, and we had one activity that she was actually out on. So the third activity that I had planned we didn't get to do, but the last one is I love puppets. So we actually brought in my puppet buddy, and I'm just going to call him Simon because we had played a Simon Says game. And I used the words on the past inventory on the deletion of the final sounds. And I used these words just to see how she did. So on here, she only got one right. So only one word right when we did this on October 26th. But when we did the Simon Says, and I would just have the word, and I would have Simon Says, delete the last sound of the word rose. Rose. And see what she would say. And I want you to know, she did fantastic on that. So going from the past tense to the puppet, she did really, really well. And I don't want that to lessen. I don't want it to decrease. So what I've done, and I'm going to give this to you as you go. I have created a couple of games that you can do at home to help Student Z continue to develop in this area. Number one is just the sound deletion game. The sound deletion game. You choose a word that ends with a consonant, and you say that word, and then you try to have Student Z say the word without the final sound. And you just kind of go up and go that way. You can use cards. You can use any of her toys if you want to. Anything that's just kind of creative just to help her review the removing the sounds of the final sounds and words. Or you can do a rhyming word hunt. A rhyming word hunt. And this would just be where you come up with a pair of words and you say, okay, we'll go back to the words we used earlier. My pair of words is bean and mean. And then she can go out and see if she can find two more rhyming words that also sound like bean and mean. So lean and stream or something like that. And I have that down for you, instructions that you can take this home and do those activities with Student Z at home. Again, I enjoyed spending the semester with her. Do you have any questions? Thank you. We'll see you next time.